Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this new edition of Pesitors. Our icon today is a barrister. His name is Akere Muna. He epitomizes the value of an ideal Cameroonian, both home and abroad. Let's get his profile before we know a little secret of his success story. Barrister Akere Muna was born on the 18th of August 1952 at Ngembu. This father of two obtained his bachelor's degree in 1975 in American University, Washington, D.C. School of International Service. In 1990, he had a diploma in maritime law at the International Center for Ocean Development, Canada, and Mohammed V University, Rabat. In 1978, he was called to the Bar of England and Wales. In 1982, he was called to the Cameroon Bar. Since 1992, he is managing and partner of Law Chambers Muna and Muna. In 1994, he became member of the National Procedure Code Commission. Since 1996, he is the editor-in-chief, Scale Common Law Society, and Social Secretary, Common Law Society of Cameroon. He is the founder and coordinator of Legal First Aid Center. He is the member of National Harmonization and Law Reform. In 1993 to 1995, he was a lecturer at the National High School of Magistracy in Now. In 1997 to 2002, he was the president of the Cameroon Bar Association. In 1998, he was the member of National Ad hoc Commission for the Fight Against Corruption. In 1999, he was the member of Arbitration Commission, (SHICAM). In 2000, he was the president of Transparency International, Cameroon. In 2000, he was a Commonwealth observer for elections in Tanzania. In 2005 to 2007, he was the president of the Pan-African Lawyers Union. He was a member of the High Panel on the Audit of African Union. In 2008, he was the presiding officer at the General Assembly of the Economic, Social, and Cultural Council of the African Union. In 2010, he was a member of the International Monetary Fund Advisory Group for Sub-Saharan Africa. In 2011, he was a member of the Higher Level Panel on Illicit Flows from Africa. In 2013, he is the eminent person panel of African Peer Review Mechanism. With a brief review of his CV, our Pesitors has been a consultant to many international organizations and legal services, to many national and international corporations. With all this, our icon's legacy is something, no doubt, to emulate from. Thank you, Barrister, for honoring our invitation in Pesitors.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, our success story today. Knowing who your father was, did it in any way influence your ascension to the top?
Well, it's flattering for you to call it a success story. It's still my story anyway. I think what I am today largely, to a very large extent, is due to the education I had from my father in terms of values and outlook on life. But of course, it was up to me to make the effort to succeed in what I did. So I say largely due to my father and to my eldest brother Daniel of late. They are the two major influences in my life. My father was very strict, very, very strict in terms of values and ethics and respect of traditions and elder persons in the family. He was very strict on that. And from when I was born, my father was minister, be it in Nigeria or Cameroon or wherever. So it was very easy for me to assume that life, that's the way life is. But my father ensured that, I understood that his success wasn't mine, and my own success had to be from my own work. So I think that was very important, very important. The story I always tell is when my father was prime minister. It was in Boya, and I was late for school. And I was trying to get a car to take me to school, and he said, well, listen, it is written on those cars, Prime Minister's office, and you are not the Prime Minister. When you be the Prime Minister, you can commandeer one of those cars. For the moment, you do like every other student and find your way to school. So that's an example to show you how my father thought. You know, you couldn't catch any of us driving government vehicles, as I've seen some people do today and stuff like that, you know. It didn't happen. As every mischievous child, of course, at midnight we'll try to steal a car out, but we never touch any government car.
Your CV is so broad. Rank on touch 1978. You were called at the Bar of England and Wales. As a young Cameroonian, how was it?
In 1978, I was called to the Bar of England and Wales, that's correct. And that, I must say, was, we were going to have the last crop of Cameroonian lawyers, Anglophone speaking lawyers, went to be called to the bar in England. You know, as more and more the Cameroonian Bar Association organized itself for the training of lawyers locally. So, for me it was very interesting because it coincided with the entry of the United Kingdom into what was known as the EEC, the European Economic Community, that is today the EU. So we're the first group of lawyers trained in EEC law. And so the temptation for me was to stay either in the UK or go to Brussels, since I was more or less bilingual. It was very attractive to stay there. But you know, my father had always thought that when we qualify, we should come back home. That's how I came back home, you know. Starting off here was very challenging, and many times I thought I should go back, but you know, all that is history today.
Ben, qu'est-ce qu'il faut dire, Maître Akere, il a presque tout le temps fait partie de ma famille. Donc au-delà du côté professionnel, parce que il se trouve que j'ai fait mon stage dans l'étude de Maître Mouna, le bâtonnier Bernard Mouna surtout, son aîné. Et ce choix avait été fait par mon père, mais Maître Akere Mouna, nous avons développé des relations qui sont allées au-delà du volet professionnel, parce que c'est quelqu'un de tellement vivant, de tellement explosif et de tellement il est plein d'idées novatrices sur quantité de choses. Donc j'ai l'impression que c'est un vrai cerveau qui est tout le temps en mouvement et qui pense à des choses auxquelles vous n'avez pas pensé dès le départ. Et qui, parfois, il vous donne des complexes par rapport à votre âge, parce que lui, il est un peu plus âgé que moi, mais il a une énergie qui me déborde parfois. Et vous voyez son côté festif en plus, qui n'est pas mauvais, où nous nous sommes retrouvés également, ou qui fait que il se croit presque en droit chaque fois de donner une fête pratiquement tous les trimestres de l'année. Donc, de ce point de vue, nous ne pouvions que nous retrouver et nous ne pouvons.
What's your favorite sport? What do you practice?
Well, listen, one of the sports I like is sometimes I walk. Long time ago I used to play tennis, but my timetable stopped me from doing that. I used to walk. I've started again walking. What sports do I like? I really can't say. I used to enjoy volleyball. But you know,
What's your favorite sport? What do you practice?
well, listen, one of the sports I like is sometimes I walk. Long time ago I used to play tennis, but my timetable stopped me from doing that. I used to walk. I've started again walking. What sports do I like? I really can't say. I used to enjoy volleyball. But you know, football, I'd watch it when there's a national match, but you know, I don't go crazy for football as other people do. So my favorite meal is ekwang. Yes, cocoyams, grated and leaves, and that's my best meal. I love that.
It's a privilege for me to talk about my younger brother, Akere. It's both a privilege and a challenge. You know, we don't choose our parents. Everybody knows that. But I'm so proud of him that it takes a little effort to talk about him. In the true sense, I know my family is well known. Akere is his father's son. In our family, my late brother Daniel Muna was known as the original copy. And Akere is the final copy. Akere Muna is the final copy. Well, I and Akere have a special linkage, apart from the fact that he's my younger brother, in the sense that I was the one who took him to school on the first day in Bamenda. I remember walking to school with him and my other younger brother George. And it was Akere's first day in school. And when we got to school, this was his CBM Nkwen, the campus of the Baptist Mission in Bamenda in those days. When we got to school, he wouldn't stay in his class and started crying. I was in standard 2 then. And so he had to come and sit with me for about 2 days, entire 2 days. But what's interesting is that he was able to answer some of the questions that the teacher was asking, and it looked like he was in that class. Finally, he grew up and was able to go back. He stopped crying and was able to go back and start school. And what a man he is today.
What is the advice you can give to this growing generation when looking up to you as an icon?
Well, I think the only thing that pays is hard work and perseverance. My father used to say, whatever you do, do it well. I think that is it. It is true that one of the problems of our own society here is that sometimes those who work very hard do not seem to get compensated or recompense for working that hard. And I think in society that's what distorts it a lot, you know. It's very important to build a society which is based on reward for effort, you know. You should be able to work hard and make it. But in a society, it can be frustrating when some people who have done nothing move very fast, and those who are working all the time don't get anywhere because of relationships. So that can distort the society and discourage its youth. But I think that in the country, you know, there are 3 things I think you have to get right. They're almost biblical, you know. I'm not a preacher, but you know, I'm Christian, and in the Christianity you learn about Jesus teaching, Jesus healing, and Jesus judging, you know, giving judgment on the issues. So I think in a society, if you get the health right, if you get the education right, if you get the courts, justice right, I think you're well ahead of making sure you have a society where every citizen can live. I was listening to the Pope in Brazil, and he said something which I believe in seriously. He said that a country should be judged by the way it treats its poorest and its weakest. I think that is the measure of a country. If you have a country you're building where those who have and are more powerful are those who get ahead, then you're heading straight towards failure. So these are some of the things I sort of go by, you know, and I think life is not it's not the game of the swift, you know. I think people sometimes look at others and feel that, you know, they should get ahead very fast, you know. I want to become a lawyer, get a 4x4 car, smoke a big cigar, build a big house, and look tough in the city. You can do that, you know. But I think your pace is your pace, and your pace is guided by your principles, your ethics, and the opportunities that come your way. So I think, you know, those are the principles I go by, and I think so far, you know, they've been productive. I think that is it. Hard work, patience, tolerance. In our country, a lot of patience. Yeah.
Thank you, Barrister, for honoring my invitation once more.
Yeah.
And it was a pleasure having you here, a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah.
And your insights of your success story.
Thank you for having me, and I wish you all the best and to your station and to your program. And I'm very flattered that you feel I've been successful. So, well, thank you very much. About 30 years ago, I bought chicken, which was an old layer, a farm chicken, they call it, and which I cut up and spice it up and put it in a pot and put it on the cooker. Then I was called off somewhere, so I turned the heat very low, and it went off. When I came back, I discovered that the water had dried out, and the fat from the old layer had melted and had fried the chicken, and it tasted extraordinary. So since then, I started making it. It's very simple. You will find here, this is an old layer chicken that has been cut up, and that's the fat you can see there. And you take this and you spice it up. You know, here this is ground garlic, green peppers, and some cube. You know,
Right.
ground and mixed together. And you marinate it in this chicken for a while. It's better to do it overnight. Okay, and then you take it in the morning and you put it in a pot like that. In the pot, then you put in some tomatoes, some onions again, and some green peppers. And then you boil it with a little bit of water, not too much water, at a low heat. And what happens is that the water dries out, and the juice of the chicken itself, you can see here like the fat and all that, melts down and fries the chicken till it gets very brown. And then when you've done that, you put it in this kind of a thing here. You put it here in this mushroom. You put the mushroom on it with some button tomatoes, and that goes into the oven. It goes on for about 15 minutes, and it makes a superb dish. So that's what I do. We don't have the time, so I cannot go through that, but you know, I do it all the time, maybe some other time. You can do it, actually taste. It's very tasty, it's easy to make. It's a bachelor's meal, and you can eat, you know, it comes with chicken in its own juice. You can eat it with plantains, you can eat it with rice, you can eat it with anything. It's very easy to do. So that's my best and easiest recipe.
Okay, that's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching this edition. I hope he inspired you. I hope you learned something from him. See you next time.